Well, just a very quick technical note from the future ahead of this video. Unfortunately, during the recording, unbeknownst to me at the time, one of my video drivers on my PC failed, and as a result, there are very odd occasions where the picture on the FM gets a little blurry, but more importantly, there's a lot of the time, basically whenever I move, where I turn into a few pixels, which you may say is a slight upgrade. However, that is just a 1 week problem. It has been noted and since fixed. But today you will see a slightly blurrier version of me, but I didn't want to be unauthentic and record a whole season again, as I don't think I would have been able to give it that same original feel as when I saw it for the first time. So for this one, unfortunately, not the highest technical video quality, but hopefully you can still enjoy it as normal, and we'll be back to the usual service next week. Well, today we're going to get, I think, a pretty conclusive answer to a very important question. Are we very brave in this save, or are we blind stupid? Because for the third time, we are heading off to Sweden. The suitcase is packed after 2 failures in Swedish football and the 4th tier before. But this time, we've just got to get it right. In our 3rd relegation battle in Sweden, can we back up 2 successes abroad and make sure that we go into positive numbers when it comes to success versus failures in this year's Firefighter? Yes, hello and welcome along to Club 5 of the FM24 Firefighter series with me, Daniel. In this save, we take on a club that's finding itself in a difficult or perilous position, and we try and guide them towards safety before leaving at the end of the season. There are no long-term projects, there are no sustainable rebuilds here. It is all about doing a job and getting out of there as a survival specialist of the highest order. We have had a bit of a mixed time so far in this save. If you've missed any of it, it's up in the eye above. You're about to get a spoiler if not. So far in this save, we have been in Swedish football twice. We have failed on both occasions. We've had 4 stints overall. We succeeded in the other 2 on the final day in Denmark, and of course pretty comfortably last time out in Slovakia. But when we were in Sweden 2 clubs ago at Ragsveds, you all remembered what happened. The last second, we were beyond the added time that was allocated. As it stood, we were staying up and not even in a relegation playoff, and we somehow conceded a late goal to fall to automatic relegation. It wasn't a complete failure there though, because we did get our first coaching badge due to the club being in a good financial situation. And on the face of it, it looks like today's club, Varbergs, are in a very similar position. A low wage bill, a good financial situation. So if we can have a positive start and get them out of that relegation zone initially, it might be a chance to get another coaching badge, which I know again is something that a lot of you mentioned in the comments. So Swedish football might be kind to us in another way, but it would be lovely if we could actually succeed and keep a club up. Let's go and head to Varbergs, our 5th club of this save. We'll meet the team, the squad and the staff we're going to be working with before sporadic updates throughout the season at important times. We've got a transfer window to work with here as well. So this one, probably our best chance at success. Well, here we go. Our first day in the job. We were 1 game away from a sack in 2024, apparently. Well, we've been sacked twice in this save. But this club are in a West Division. They are 12th place in the league, which is the relegation playoff place. And a very interesting reunion at part in this save. Hasselholms, who were the first club we managed in the Firefighter, got sacked after 4 games without winning. They are back promoted and they are now in this Southwest Division rather than their last one. So we will be coming up against them in this save. Let's go and get through the opening sequences though. The media prediction was 5th, but it was 12th when we looked, so they can't have been that far above the teams they were playing. A 4.7 thousand capacity, below average facilities, the rest is poor, but we're not going to be here long enough to be affected by the youth facilities. The transfer budget is existent. The wage budget gives us a little bit to work with. And there is an assistant manager in place who's not very good, but at least there's one there, which does speed us up a little bit at the start. If we go through to the next stuff, they're recommending a 4-3-3. We'll judge that when we get into it, of course. They might just be recommending it because we've played it at a couple of clubs. And if we look at the objectives, we've got to work within the wage budget. We've got to avoid relegation this season. And hopefully that will mean success. And it'll be 3-2 to us when it comes to the Firefighter this year. So let's confirm and get through to the opening day stuff. We have got, well, playing time expectations. Lots of people wanting some football. A youth intake preview, which looks pretty average. One attacking midfielder that might be good. Will that fit into whatever style we're going to play? They normally come really late in the season in Sweden as well, so it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. They want to remain in the division. We'll look at the table at the minute. And avoiding relegation is the objective. There's not enough of a budget change for me to be ambitious here, so we're just going to play it safe. Based on our previous stints in Sweden, is very tight at the bottom. And we'll create the tactic once we've met the players. But this is what we've inherited. A club that are joint second bottom on 11 points. However, 2 points behind 3 sides. Another one 3 points above, who I think are the team we play first. They are. The last game before the break and the transfer window opens. And then there's a fair few teams up on sort of 16, 18, 20. So you can see Hasselholm's, our first side of this save here. They've recovered pretty well, haven't they, from relegation out of this league. So we have got a situation where hopefully we can get through this one game. I'm not really that worried about the result for that because there's plenty of time. We're not going to finish bottom. The question is, can we get in enough players in the window? Can the scouts find people? And can we get ourselves out of trouble? That's going to be the big question here. If we look at the schedule, we've got this game, then a month off. The window opens mid-July, so we can try and get some stuff in place, get some staffing in. And then we've got that big run of games going through the autumn. The window doesn't shut till after this match. And then we've got the final 7, which includes like the bottom side away. Landvetter were just above us, weren't they? Halmia were down there. No, they're 7th. The team that we're playing first last game of the season as well. So there are games where you would think a 9th place at home, we can win if we can get the players in. Let's look at the staff and the players we've got here already, though. We're going to need to get some recruitment staff in the next 3 weeks, so the adverts will be going out pretty quick there. We look at what we've inherited. Aside from the assistant manager, there is a chief scout who is diabolical, judging ability of 2. We've got an under-19s manager who could be worse. Okay, working with youngsters and motivating people, but that's about the limit. And we have actually got a physiotherapist who is bad, but not the worst we could have possibly got. So there's a carcass of a staffing team there, but we're going to have to add to it a little. Let's go and look at the development centre. Any players worth getting excited about yet? Not really. There's a 16-year-old there who is okay, but a striker who can't finish your run. Probably not for the immediate. Might actually be better as a midfielder if we need someone desperately in there, but I'd rather not have to use him. Let's leave it at that. If we go through to the senior squad, we've got, well, a real mixture, actually. A few people who aren't good enough and should probably be in the youth team. So let's just do that now. There's a couple of 16-year-olds that have no business being here. If we're going to have people in the first team, they've got to at least have 1 star of ability. Yeah, not for you either, mate. So let's hope that we don't need to re-promote them or we could be in trouble. Another 17-year-old. Again, God, I hope not. You can drop out. And I'll tell you what, we'll leave the 1.5 star. And we've inherited some greyed out players because of that. But let's see what we've got. The good news is, it looks like we're going to be solid defensively because the best 3 players are a goalkeeper and 2 centre-halves. I can see a slight concern from 2 of them, which is a worry with the window 3 weeks away. And yes, it's they want to move to stronger squads. One of them's wanted. The goalkeeper, Axel Svensson, I'd go as far as to say in the 3 Swedish clubs we've managed, that's the best goalkeeper we've had. He's 6'1", he can jump, he's agile, he's brave, he's fairly professional, a great personality to have in the squad, really solid all-rounder, probably a very good National League South, maybe even passing a National League keeper on English terms. I think he's someone worth keeping, and he's wanted by a club in the division above. Might be hard to keep him, but again, this is short-term for us, so it doesn't matter if we have to upset people. This is about doing the best thing for us. We're not worried about sustainability for the first time ever on this channel. Jacob Röhrlin is, by the looks of it, a pretty good backup keeper. Probably the 6th or 7th best player at the club. His jumping reach is 4. Why would you let someone be a goalkeeper that can't jump? Jumping reach of 4, composure 5, concentration 5, aerial reach 6. He's 5'10". I mean, a jumping reach of 4 for someone who's 5'10" is not great, but he is not as good as 3-star makes out. We'll try and make the wages up in a window by getting rid of him because he's marked decently enough and we don't need him. So let's hope we can keep Svensson now because Röhrlin is not the replacement we want. Let's just skip a couple here and start with the star centre-halves who both say they can play midfield as well. I'd rather they be natural defenders. Anton Nilsson, 26-year-old. They're all Swedish. Again, very solid. Not the most agile on the turn, so we're not going to be able to play a high line here. He is really solid across the board. Just 8s, 9s, and then a couple of big ones for strength and for heading, which is going to be great with the jumping reach in the box from set pieces. We've also got Gustav Bendrick. He's a versatile 22-year-old Swede who also wants out. Yeah, he's not bad as well. 6 foot on the dot, jumping reach of 10. But again, everything else is between sort of 8 and 10. Looks like he'd actually be more handy as a right back. But given what we've got at the minute, I think he'll probably have to play centre half. And then in the window, it will just be which one we can get a better player, centre half or right back. Because the rest of the defence looks, well, crap if I'm being honest. There's another centre half who's 2-star ability, 21-year-old Gustafsson, composure of 1, strength of 6. But again, not bad in the air if we need a desperate lunge from set pieces or something. I wouldn't really want him to be starting. Right back, Albin Janland. He is 26. He's okay. Do you know what? Really versatile for the bench, which is great. I actually don't mind him. He's not the best on the ball when it comes to passing, but defensively, he can tackle a bit. He can mark. He anticipates. He concentrates well. He's got stamina and fitness. He's not the slowest in the world, and his positioning isn't horrific. I can live with it for a game, and then if he can be a sub later in the season, I'm happy with that level of substitution. Second one is Mohamed Alagoz, a youth player who actually looks half decent. He's a right back by trade. Low determination. He can't run, he can't tackle, and he can't cross, and his positioning terrific. He's not my style of defender, but I'll keep him in there, maybe just working with the goalkeeper to improve his personality. So apparently he has got potential for the club, but yeah, not my style of player at all, really. On the left-hand side, we have got Hugo Dunga, who is 2-star ability, 5-star potential, natural left back. Not the best in the world, but again, decent at the back post from crosses as an aerial threat. He's quick. 6s is pushing it for my first team level, but there could be worse, so let's not rule him out completely. He's marked as a midfielder, so let's do Ellis Persson first, who is a 2.5-star centre-half, also a natural left-back. I'd say he's probably slightly better. I know his anticipation lets him down, but he's better in the tackle, he's better positioning, he's huge in the air, which we've got to think about set pieces here. He's also more versatile if we then need to slip him into midfield, move him into centre-half, whatever. Could even be a back 5 yet if the attacking players are poor. But just a solid all-rounder. I'm quite happy with him for now, to be honest. The right midfielder we skipped over, who can also play right back, is Victor Rödel. He has 2-star ability, but again, he's got all the core attributes. If you look at him going forward, he's got crossing, dribbling, a little bit of pace, he's agile, he's balanced, he works hard, decent technique, and again, a really strong personality. Even a half-decent penalty taker. He's not been starting for them this year. I don't know why. But I think he's going to be in my team unless there's some brilliant players about. Because I think he looks pretty good. Next one is a centre mid who's injured for 4 weeks. So we'll be back after the first game and a little summer break. It is Fabian Bergston. 2-star ability. Lots of potential. Horrific stamina. No work rate. He's okay on the ball. So as a backup sort of playmaker or centre midfielder on attack, yes. But I'm not sure he's going to be a starter for me. Not that I've got much choice here because Soren Mizan is 1-star ability. You are just horrific. Next one is Thomas Magnusson, the only non-Swede. Oh no, the first of 2. A 3.5-star Icelandic teenage midfielder. He's basically a better version of Bergston, isn't he? He works harder. Still not great physically, but he's got at least natural fitness. He's great on the ball and could be the man to unlock a door. Who on earth's going to play alongside him, though? That's the question. Do I maybe have to play Dunga left back, push Persson into midfield? Don't know what the solution is there. We've then got a left winger, another 19-year-old, this time from Iceland again. 4 to 6 weeks, so might miss the first couple. 3-star ability. I mean, he's got pace and nothing else. Let's be blunt about it. Can play centre mid, can play up front, can't cross the ball, can't make good runs off it. He's just electric quick, so give him the ball and watch him run. And then up front, we've got 2 players we've inherited. The best one is Shane Royson, 3-star ability, massive potential. He's got the core attributes, not the most composed, but he can run, he can finish, he's good off the ball. He'll be all right for us through the middle. And then alongside him, Simon Johansson, 2-star ability. Again, he's got the core attributes. I actually quite like him. The anticipation and decision-making lets him down, but His off-the-ball composure, finishing, pace and acceleration and agility, all pretty decent. So Hansen's not a player I would rule out. It does leave me a little bit sparse when it comes to attacking talent because with the injury we've got on the left wing, there literally isn't another player. There's one centre midfielder fit of first team level. So I guess the temptation is to play a back five, but I don't think we've got a third centre half who's strong enough. So what I think we're going to do, I think we're going to go 4-4-2 because I quite like both of the strikers. We've got a traditional winger in Rodell who can cross. We've got a quick one in Good Laugson who could get up and support and isn't the worst finisher. It's just about an extra centre mid then, which for one game we could patch up and then we can bring in loads of players, so it's fine. I think we're going to go 4-4-2. It's something we haven't done yet in this save. Let's give it a bit more of a British feel. There's a sell-on clause here for £4,000. We'll definitely take that for the club. A Bulgarian that previously left. Could have done with him in centre midfield, couldn't we? Looks a proper player. Are there any players that have been scouted by the club? Not yet, but we're going to get a couple of scouts in. We might move the transfer budget over and maybe just scout a little bit more of the region, go for the surrounding divisions as well. About half a season, we can afford to do that anyway. And then we'll go and ask director of football or whoever's going to be replacing him for what they would do as well. But we have got a couple of really good players in the core of that squad. I like the strikers. I like Magnussen in the middle. Rodell's fine on the right. And then we've got, I would say, 3 pretty good defenders and a goalkeeper. We just need a right back. We probably could do with a left back if we could find one, but Person doesn't worry me that much. Definitely need a centre mid. Definitely need a left winger. Could do with extra depth on the right. And if we could get a better striker, then great. Or a natural sort of target man or a foil for these two who like to run in behind. But that's going to be in a couple of weeks' time. We've got one game to get through first. Then we need to bring in staff. We need to get to the transfer window. We need to find a way around it. But 4-4-2 is going to rule the day. Let's come back after the first match when the transfer window opens and see what sort of position we're in. I'm hoping if we can get through this game without too much of a problem, maybe just avoid defeat, or if not, keep the goal difference down. We can then build a side for the autumn that can compete. Well, we return ahead of our second game, which is a Swedish Cup tie that's been added in. It's the first one after the summer break. The transfer window is open and we have added 6 players already, including one familiar face, a few really good additions, and we've also got a bundle of trialists and loan offers in for players that are ranked okay. Then we'll pick the best of the bunch at the end of it. For this one, though, I'm pretty happy, and that's despite the fact that we've dropped to 13th, as you can see. We did lose our first game in charge, but we kept the goal difference down to 1-0. As you can see, we kind of had to sit behind the ball. I didn't make subs because the bench was atrocious. And we just sort of made it work because Svensson was okay, the defence was fine. But you can see we're really lacking attacking talent. Dunga actually played on the left of midfield. We then played Royston and Johansson up front, but they got no service. But we kept it tight, and that's been the case for most of their season. Now, we've added some midfield and attacking talent, and I'm hoping that as we continue to do so over the next month, we'll gain a bit of an attacking threat as well. So, not all doom and gloom. We'll show you the players we've brought in and the tactic we've set up, because a 4-4-2, yes, but that means a different style of play. So let's see the players and the staff we've added in, because the key thing was to get staff on board before the window, and we've done it. They're not of the greatest quality, but they are additions, which is what we needed. Key, a director of football, so we could ask for targets, look at players around. Magnus Vedin is that man. He is not very good, but he's got experience at this level, and he has suggested a couple of decent players, although I think the best one we've signed has come from a media report in the transfer rumours section, which maybe tells you about our staff's quality. On the senior additions, there's been another assistant manager bizarrely come in. It's because no one would sign as a coach and they don't actually care what role they've got, the board, as long as we've not got more than the number. So rather than a coach, we got another assistant manager. This is Carl Linkvist, who is a terrible coach, but Carl Steen's not bad, but he's actually a better assistant manager. So he's the one who's assisting with sort of touchline instructions, individual things, and that pre-match. So really helpful to have him in. We've got a head of youth development, Chiharu Stoklasa, who is okay. Not the best in the world, but 6 is pretty decent at this level for judging potential and works okay with youngsters as well. Got an okay personality. We had a head physio. We've added a second one who, again, 6 for physiotherapy. and 2 scouts come in who, actually, I was pretty surprised by the quality of. We've got one who we've worked with before. Gabriel Pettersson was at Ragsveds when we were there a year ago. 8 for ability, 7 for potential, and he's scouting very well at the minute. And then Alexander Tasevsky, who is 9 for judging ability and 7 for potential as well. But we don't really care about the potential. We want them to judge well what we're inheriting straight away, because we need players to make an instant impact. On that subject, there are 6 players in already, loads of potential pending deals, loads that we've offered contracts to, like this Fryman here, where we can only offer up to like 15, 20 quid a week, and then they're just rejecting us to go and sign for 30, 40, 50, even 100 elsewhere. And we've got a few where we've got confirmations, as you can see. So like these 3, they're all okay. I've got an order, I'd sign them. But Fryman is the one I want. If I get Fryman, I don't need to get the other 3 in. It's those sorts of deals that we're having to wait on. Again, Shears is waiting because Bolas is my first choice but hasn't agreed to join yet. So there's going to be a lot where we have to leave it a little longer. And with the first game after being a cup tie, I didn't think to worry too much. We're still desperate for a left back. We're going for trialists galore, but we've managed to get 6 in already, and I'm pretty happy with some of them. The first one is probably an emergency backup, but a player you'll know well. Juro Raikkonen is a player we had at Ragsved. Was scouted by the new scout, of course, who we got from there. Again, can't cross or dribble, but we just needed another option to Rodell, and he gives us that. And more a different option, where he's not a great all-rounder, but he's quick. And he can just get on the ball and run, which is what we needed on that side as an option. The rest of the additions, I think, are all pretty good. I think all of them will be in the matchday squad, and 3 or 4 of them, probably 4 out of the 5 will be starters. Noah Everson is the first of them. He is the natural foil we were looking for up front. He's 6'1", he's good in the air, he's got a good jumping reach. The Dana is available on a free agent deal, all on contracts to the end of this season for about 8 quid a week in this case. 2.5 ability, 4-star potential. Just ticks the box for me. We saw from that first game, having 2 strikers trying to run in behind, it doesn't really give you multiple dimensions. I'm a bit worried about his determination, but I like the fact that he's got a decent first touch. He can play with his back to goal, and I think he might make us a bit more of a rounded side. You know I love a target man in a 4-4-2. Noah Everson should fill that void. The second one is also a striker. Weirdly on loan from rivals Landvetter, who are in that relegation mix with us. They are 12th in this division, so I wonder if they'll regret that deal. But the man they've sent us is Morten Olsen. He is another player who can play in both striker roles. Sort of an emergency backup. We signed him a little bit blind, but I like a lot of his attributes. He's okay in the air. I didn't realise his jumping reach was going to be as poor. We had sort of half of his attributes there when we signed him. But 5'11", decent at both. And he scored 3 goals in this division this season for Landvetter. So it was more one that I looked and thought there's a 50-50 chance he improves us. There is a 100% chance he weakens a rival. So it seemed a no-brainer just from that point of view, with no wage contribution either. We did mention in that back 5, we probably could do with improving the fullbacks, and Sebastian Parker will go a long way to helping that. He is a 3-star right back who can also play left back and right midfield. He's just a really solid all-round fullback. His physical attributes are all decent. He's okay in the air as well. Back post defending crucial. 8s and 9s across the board. A few 10s and 11s in there as well. Just a big upgrade on what we've got. For comparison, he's now put Rodell down to 1.5 and Jarland as well. So he's twice as good as the next best player, apparently. 2 more additions so far, and both of these will bolster what was a very weak midfield. We've got a new first choice left winger in Majid Amiri. I'm hoping that we'll be able to have Fryman on the other side. We'll wait and see. But Amiri is on loan from a club that I don't think are in our division. No, they're in the first division south, so he's actually dropped down. He's only 17. Not the best personality, but he's determined. He works hard. He's a bit better technically than the Icelandic we had already. And he's better physically as well. So while it says he's only 3-star, it is downgrading the rest of the squad because now the other one's down to 2. He's a consistent performer. He's a young kid who's going to improve. I just thought, again, it was a gamble worth taking. So Amiri comes in as our first choice left winger. And then probably the one I'm happiest with so far. He's not a standout player by any means, but Liam Varbo, we so needed a centre mid. And he gives us natural balance too because he comes on a loan from Sandviken, so again, first division elite, divisions above us. He's a box-to-box midfielder. He's naturally left-footed. He's a perfect foil for the Icelandic playmaker in the middle. He does all the dirty work. He's got great physical attributes. He's good enough in the air. He's good enough technically. Really pleased with what we're adding. Probably need 3 or 4 more at least to try and get ourselves that depth we want. If you look at the overall star rating of our lineup now, you've got 2 good centre mids. You've got 2 good strikers. You've got a left winger who's going to come in now who is standout quality. Got 3 good strikers because we've got one on the bench too. And we've now got a back 4 that I'm actually relatively happy with across the board. Person, yes, we'd like to replace, but not going to be heartbroken if we can't. I think that's a good team and one that's good enough to stay up if we can get that right midfielder in. So definite improvements, but we've got to prove it on the pitch now. The dynamics are still pretty average. We've not been able to make everyone happy. We've still got this sort of nagging unhappiness for these 2 players who I've agreed with Svensson to sell him for a certain fee. And Bendrick, I just sort of said, no, I'm sorry, mate, you're going to have to wait. So I'm hoping that both of those will stay at the club. As of yet, there haven't been any offers and the interest in Svensson has gone a little bit. You can see I've promised if a team makes a bid, we'll consider it. So let's go and get through the next few. We'll try and get towards the end of the window unless there's any big updates. And hopefully we'll start picking up some results. If we can get ourselves out of that relegation zone, we can also think about a coaching badge because the bank balance at this club is very good. And I want to try and take advantage. We've said there's going to be very few opportunities for us to do it. Most clubs in Europe, when you join, seem to be in pretty poor positions financially. So if we can take advantage of Swedish football in that regard, it's taken enough from us in the last few years. I think that would be a positive moving forward because, again, you can see we've got our first license. It's not done a great deal for our reputation. The attributes are starting to improve. But if we could get a second one, just gives us a little bit more clout, doesn't it? So let's go and get through the next few weeks. We'll be back at the end of the window, unless there's any news in the meantime. Well, as you can see, we're back just over a week later, and it has been a brilliant week for this football club because, as you can see, we're out of the relegation zone, only by 2 points, so let's not get carried away. But it gives us a window of opportunity to request a coaching badge. And as you can see, we've won both of our last 2 league games, which is incredible progress for us. And has actually brought some other teams into it because we beat the side who are now 6th, who are just 3 points above us. And you could say, bar the top 3, everyone's within reach. So maybe we can go for 2 comfortable jobs in a row. I don't know. But the big news that comes from this one is that we've got the window of opportunity to ask for a coaching badge. And it's been approved. We're going to get the National B licence covered by Varbergs and Swedish football. Even if we fail again, will give us 2 coaching badges at the very least. If we can make a success and avoid relegation as well, could be a very important year in my career as a firefighter. We've got more offers that we've made. We've got more players that have rejected, accepted and whatever else. We've got another right winger who hopefully will be coming in because guess what? Freeman rejected us. We're trying to get this left winger Bosnich, but other clubs are going to be able to offer more money. So it'd be a miracle if he joins as well. It's becoming a familiar tale. However, we did get our first choice loan striker in. Edgar Bolas has joined at the end of July. He is another very good striker. Quick, composed and a good finisher. Adds a little bit more quality in that advanced forward / poacher role. Made his debut, didn't play that well, but he's not fit yet. So hopefully he'll get up to speed soon and contribute to a survival push. We'll reflect on the games in a minute when we get to the end of the window. But one more signing in, one more coaching badge in, and that could solve a few problems down the line for us. Let's go and get through to the end of the month and see if our good post-break form continues. Well, you do have to laugh. As we get to the end of August, we've done pretty well, to be honest. As you can see, we're in 8th place, which is a little misleading because the table's so tight. Landvetter in the automatic relegation place, just 7 points behind us, playing us in a couple of weeks. We've also got Halmia coming up who are 10th, so it could well fall apart yet, and we're playing the league leaders next. So let's not get too excited, but there are positive signs. We are out of trouble for now. The big centre-half is our top scorer, which shows that set pieces might be working in our favour. As we mentioned a minute ago, we're getting the coaching badge. And we're also pushing away from the relegation zone. It is the end of the transfer window now, though, so let's reflect on all of the signings we got in. Because since Bolas joined at the start of last month, 3 more have come into the club. And one of them was sort of enforced due to something that happened to someone else. So, the first one was the right winger we were looking at, Risto Laukkanen. It was about fourth choice after Freeman rejected us and a couple of other free agents too. That Bosnich turned us down. So Laukkanen comes in on loan from GBK, who are in Finland, second division. He is a 2.5-star ability winger. Again, not much better than the others, but quick, decent dribbler, good technique. He offers us something else. So as a teenager, he was worth taking a punt on loan. No contribution at all. Then the last two that come in are both first choice left backs, but we'll discuss why in a second. Because Carl Holmer was the first of them. He came in on the 30th. He then got injured and he's out for the next 3 or 4 games, so I had to bring in the other one as well. I thought it was worth the gamble. Holmer had agreed to be a fringe player anyway, so it's not a disaster. He's a left back who's really solid across the board. Offers decent cover at centre-half as well, albeit he's not the tallest and I wouldn't like to rely on him. So I think he's an okay player. I would have been happy with him. As it turns out, the one that I didn't think we were going to get, who we had to bring in, is actually even better. Kourosh Kadajani is a left back at 22 years of age who is properly good. He's only 5'9", but he's decent in the air. He's just a good all-rounder again, but better going forward than the other lads. And to be fair, he's fitter at the minute, which is the most important thing. He's also played at a higher level. He's played in the First Division North and played half a season there. So he's got a little bit of experience to bring with him too. But overall, that leaves me with a squad I'm really quite happy with. If we have a look at it on paper, when everyone's fit, let's bring in the new left back and say he replaces the injured man. And if we bring in a new right winger who's on loan, actually every position in the team is 2-star ability or more. The only one who's not 2.5 is the target man Everson, but he's scored 2 in 6, 4 in 8 in all competitions, and he's done really well for me, so I've got no complaints about him. I think we're in a really good position to stay up. I think we've built a solid squad. All we've got to do is avoid big injuries, and so far, touch wood, and fingers crossed we've been able to do it. Let's have a look at the schedule at what's been going on, because it's generally been very good, but there are a couple of hilarious results in there. You'll note the one league defeat we've had is a heavy one against our former club, who were useless when we were in charge of them, and we've also had a heavy beating by a bigger side in the cup. But since you were last with me, the first round of the cup we won 3-1, a little bit of prize money for the club, which may have funded the coaching badge, who knows. Nilsson got one after the Everson brace. His goals have dried up since the first few games, but he's done a job for me. I'm happy. We then beat Alafors by 2-1. A big win with 2 of the signings getting the goals as well. Everson and Varbo won a piece. Amiri was magnificent on the left, got a couple of assists. All of the new boys really contributing. Before we moved into August with a big win at Lindom. We won that by 2-0 with 2 of the new strikers, Everson and Olsen, getting a goal apiece. Moving on to a Cairo away, a 1-1 draw, which I wasn't that displeased with. Nilsson getting a header from a set piece. Before a 3-0 win at home to John Zareds. A really good victory with Bolas getting his first for the club. Rodell popping up with one and Persson adding a late one from a set piece. Then 2 heavy defeats against my former club Hasselholms, who have just become magnificent now, signed good players, suddenly able to offer 110 quid a week in wages. Not sure where that was when we were there, but they managed to win 3-0. It was a frustrating day for me. A 5-0 defeat at home to Falkenbergs, who were a far better side, so no complaints. And then a big 3-0 win at home in the league last time out. Holmer got that injury we mentioned, but Amiri's first for the club. Nilsson and Rodell scored again, and Svensson in goal had an absolutely cracking day. So a really good effort from the boys. I want to note the 2 centre midfielders who have been magnificent in their current duties. We mentioned Varbo being the perfect foil, and it's proven that way tactically. We've now got the traditional target forward and poacher combination. Just 2 supporting wingers and 2 supporting fullbacks. Get it wide, get crosses in, serve the 2 in the box, serve Varbo. We've got the ball being spread wide by Magnusson, who can now just sit in this playmaker role. He's really good in possession, but he's not got much else. And as we mentioned, Varbo is now just doing that dirty work. So it's worked out brilliantly for us. I feel at the other clubs in Sweden, and generally across this save actually, we've been able to bring in players to cover most positions at most of our clubs. But we've not been able to bring natural balance when it comes to roles and duties within the team. And I feel maybe more by luck than judgment here. Defensively, we naturally had it at the club. But in terms of the wingers we found, and particularly in terms of the central midfielders and centre forwards we've got, as well as the centre halves we inherited, we've naturally got a balance in those duties. So now a target forward and then a runner in behind. a playmaker who's great on the ball we inherited, and then finding the perfect type of midfielder, something we couldn't really do at our last two clubs, who can just carry the ball as a box-to-box and then do the dirty work out of possession. You can see we're not overdoing it now. We're passing it into space, getting it wide, hitting early crosses in. There's nothing more to it. Out of possession is fairly basic. The strikers and the midfielders drop in deep. We try and make it fairly compact, but without dropping too deep overall. The defensive line is still outside that penalty area. And then when we get it, we distribute it quickly, we get it wide, and we try and counter-attack. Get balls into the box while they've not got many back, and give ourselves situations where we've maybe got a 3-on-3 or a 4-on-3, where we can try and take advantage. So it's worked out well. It's been a really positive start, aside from playing Hasselholms. We're now 6 points clear, but next time out, we're playing the top of the league side. I doubt we'll get anything there. It then becomes about what we do in the few weeks after. So hopefully we'll pick up some positive results. I'd really like to just tick Sweden off and get the job done. And then we won't have to worry about coming back here again. Certainly not at this lower level. So let's get through a few more weeks. Any news, I'll let you know. But if not, we'll return either for a dramatic game at the end or one where we can maybe secure our safety. Could it even be before the final day, just for my sanity? That would be lovely. Well, 2 games later, we return, having lost to top of the table Astrio as expected, but we put up a fight with Bendrick getting a goal. But then we've just had the biggest moment of this save so far. A 1-0 victory at home to Savedelans. But my God, we left it late. Morten Olsen, the super sub, with Rodell, the other sub, getting the assist. A 93rd minute winner, which has put us in a great position now. If it hadn't been for that, we would only have been 4 points clear of 12th going into this game. Now we are 6 points clear of 12th, and crucially, we are 10 points clear of Landvetter in 13th. We are at home to them today. We should win this game. And if we do, thanks to them again, by the way, for giving us Olsen, we will be safe from automatic relegation, which will at least avoid one of the heartaches that we had at Ragsfeds 2 episodes ago. So this is a big game for us on that point of view. And if we win it, we then go away to the bottom of the table side, who, to be fair to them, have caught some ground. And if we can win that one as well, we might be safe with 3 games to spare, which would be lovely. We've then got Halmia, who are in and around us, so that could be nice. And we've also then got 2 of the big boys at the top. So I don't really want to leave it until late on. But that first defeat against Rapper, not looking so bad now. They're up in 4th. Hasselholms, our former club who beat us, they're up in 3rd. The only 3 clubs we've lost to are all in the top 4. The problem is our last 2 fixtures are against sides up there as well. So we have got to get it done in the next 3 games. We are going to return, if we win this one, what might be the decisive game away at bottom of the table Vidin. And it is a very crucial game against bottom of the table. But the big news is we are safe from automatic relegation. We beat Landvetter by 2-1. Rodell scored after missing a penalty. And Edgar Bolas, one of the summer signings, got the job done. Good to see Laukkanen making an impression off the bench as well. He's been a bit quiet since he came in. However, we go into this game away at bottom of the table. And if we win, we should be safe. Because Halmia are 8 points behind us. There are 4 games to go. But they play the league leaders Astrio. And I wouldn't expect them to get much. Certainly not a victory. We also play them next time out. But if we can get the job done today, especially with 2nd and 4th to come in the final 2 games, it would just take so much pressure off. Let's go and get through to it. We're going to show it on camera. Hopefully the moment. I feel after all the heartache in Swedish football, I have to show the moment where there might be some glory. Let's go and get through to the fixtures. You can see Halmia v Astrio. Big battle at the top, 4th v 3rd as well. I hope our former club Hasselholms don't go up because they treated us badly. And we're going away to bottom of the league. We've got to get a win. Let's see what team we can put out today. We are not dropping to cautious as we're being requested. However, we've got Amiri back from a small injury. He comes in on the left. I'm playing Rodell above Laukkanen because he keeps doing well. He deserves it. Olsen couldn't play against Landvetter because it was his parent club. Why they loaned him to us, I've no idea. But he's back on the bench today. And then the rest of the team, I think is going to stay pretty similar. Holmer is back from injury at left back. So I'm going to take Bergston out for Good Laugson. I want the strongest bench possible. Person is now basically a sub-centre midfielder because Kadejani is just too strong in there. It's a really solid back 5 that's done well in recent weeks. I say that we'll probably let him 4 or 5 today. I'm so happy with his team overall. Svensson in goal, best player at the club. The two-star centre-halves we were lucky to inherit in Nilsson and Bendrick, Kadejani and Parker, the great signings on the right and left, Amiri and Rodell, battle of the new and the old on the wings, with Magnusson alongside Varbo, perfect combination they've been. And up front is Everson and Bolas, who are doing enough. We've got quality on the bench if we need it. Let's go and submit the team for the big game here. This could be the moment we secure our survival. And finally, at the third time of asking, succeed in Swedish football. Are we going to start bottling it against bottom of the league? Let's go and find out. Well, warnings to close the skipper down, but otherwise, we just want to focus on ourselves. We're going to ask the boys to go out there and impress us. We've got a couple of them motivated, a couple of the experienced players that were here already. But are we going to get a response on the pitch? And most importantly, Astrio at the top going to do their job for us as well. We've got a goal kick early out wide, which is headed away. And we're under early pressure here, which is less than ideal. Not what we were hoping for when we started this match. Here they come in midfield, playing some good football here, the hosts. They're bottom of the league, but they have been picking up points. When we joined, they hadn't won a game. They're now up on 16 points, so they've picked up 12 since we've been at the club. There certainly hasn't been 12 matches, as Magnusson loses possession there. And we are under heavy pressure early. The fact it's been a long highlight and they've kept the ball has me very worried here, because they're in down the left-hand side. Oh, I just knew it. I turned off the game and said, I'm going to come back for this match. And I knew this was going to happen. It's so infuriating because it's so predictable. But we need a quick response as Rodell puts it in. Everson heads across goal. Off the line, but it's back to Rodell. And the ball in's poor. Can we finally wake up now? We've had 5 minutes of sleep. We've come in complacent against bottom of the league. Just don't bottle it. If it goes to those final 2 games, it could still be heartbreak because we're not beating the top teams. But we've had a great record against the bottom ones until this game. Johansson's in. Svensson saves. Wake up! Wake the hell up. What's going on? We've played so well in every game. Even the ones we've lost, it's been tight apart from Hasselholm's. We're just all over the shop today. What is happening? Bolas has given it away. Oh, why? Don't ever turn FM off, people. The curse is real. Svensson makes another save. This is a horrific start. I've no idea where it's come from. You could not have predicted this performance in a million years. They've headed one over the bar again. The bottom side are dominating. They should be 2 or 3 up already. Thankfully for us, we're still in it. We have got to find a response soon because at the moment, we look by far the second best. They get the league table up as well. Because at the moment, Halmia are picking up a point as well, and it could make next week big. We might have to show 2 games in a row here. What I'd really prefer is if we could get a result. Astrio are doing their bit. Now then, if we get a draw, we're basically safe because the goal difference is 19 apart from us to Halmia. So if we draw this, we'll be 9 clear and we'll be effectively safe. But at the moment, we've got to find a way to look like scoring because it isn't coming. As Amiri on the left gives it away again. What has happened to my team? I was so excited to show you how good we've been. Against every team not in the top 4. And we're falling apart here as Magnusson gets it to Rodell. What can he produce on the right? He's got the overlap coming from Parker, but he goes alone, delivers towards Everson. Knockdown's not clear. Varbo, bicycle kick tipped wide. Oh, that would have been some way to get back in it. Corner kick, we've still got the pressure on. Rodell will deliver, and we've been a big threat from these. You've seen Nilsson's the top scorer. Oh my God. We've scored so many goals from corners, and Rodell has just crossed it out of play for a goal kick. It's not going to be our day, is it? I don't know what it is about Swedish football. FM just has to have the drama in here. It can't just let me have a nice time in Sweden. Oh my words. I genuinely don't know where this performance has come from. The only good news is that the top of the table team are doing their job in the other game. I'm so close to swearing. It's because we've been so good it makes it worse. How many 5-yard passes are going astray? Is there like a lasagna gate or something going on here? Because I just can't explain it through any other purposes. I can't think of another reason we've regressed this much in the space of a few days. We have not been dominated like this in any game against a bottom half team. I'm going to throw some changes on. We need super subs. It's going to be Morten Olsen is coming on for Everson. I've got to do it. We're going to take Rodell off for Laukkanen. We're going to bring Holmer on for Kadejani. And we're going to take Amiri off for Goodlaugson. 4 subs have been made. There are 25 to go. We'll chase the game late on if we need to. Can we get a couple of set pieces and actually keep them in play? That would be nice. Let's just throw a bit more encouragement because the morale has quickly drifted here. And I don't know whether to gamble on the final sub. I'm going to. And Halmia have equalised. This is getting worse. This is going to make next week a very big game. Royson is going to come on in the other striker position. We're going to go attacking in a couple of minutes. And we're going to play for set pieces because that's where a lot of the goals have come from. Let's see if we get anything out of it. Stoppage time beckons. Nothing's happening. There's only 2 added on. Where has it come from? The only explanation is the curse. Do not turn the game off when you're on a good run. Poor performance. Complacency. An injury apparently to Amiri. And now I'm going to have to show you next week as well. Because Halmia have moved to within 7 points of us. They got a draw against top of the league. If they win that against us next week, they will be 4 behind with 2 to play. And we'll be playing 2 of the top 4. Who are their final 2 games against? That's our schedule. Who are theirs against? The bottom 2. Right. We have to avoid defeat next week. We just have to. Because they're playing the bottom 2 and we're playing 2 of the top 4 after that. It's not going to be easy in Sweden, is it? Halmia are at home next week. We must get a result. Back in a minute for it. Well, a game that just a week ago I hoped would be meaningless is now the most important. If we avoid defeat, we are safe from even the relegation playoff. If we lose it, you could argue we'll still survive because there are 3 sides between us and I don't think all of them will pick up maximum points or near it. And I don't actually know. Are Kongala playing Lindom? If Lindom lose today and then they're playing each other, we might be all right. They are. So actually, this could be a positive for us. If Lindom lose at Hasselholms, we might be all right anyway. But it would be lovely if we didn't have to start worrying about permutations and if buts and maybes. And if we could just get the job done. That would be handy. If we avoid defeat, we stay 7 clear of Halmia. If we win it, we go even further. But either way, that is enough with 2 games to go. So let's get through to the fixtures. You're going to see 2 games today. And because we made a hash of the first one, this one becomes important too. They're playing a wacky formation, which does not bode well for us. And we are going to make, I think, no changes today. Apart from at left back, because Holmer played well when he came on. So I'm going to go for him. Don't know if that will make a difference or not. I'm going to keep Rodell in on the right, I think. I'm going to trust it. And then what do I do with the goalkeeper? Because he's been out injured. But I feel like for a game like this, you've got to have one on the bench. I'm going to do it for the 4th choice striker. Royson's been out of form anyway. On a goal drought, so let's get Röhrling on the bench just in case of a disaster. And apart from that, it is the same 11 bar Holmer returning from injury at left back. He came off the bench last week, was our best player. Let's hope he can deliver the goods today. Well, here we go. A draw is enough and we are desperate to get it because we just can't do more final day drama in Sweden. Let's pump the fist. Let's go and say, oh, they're 14th in the form table as well. So unlike last week, this isn't an informed team. Have we lost a home league game yet? I think the only ones we've lost 3 on the road and we've also lost a home one in the cup. I tell you what, it's getting tight at the top as well, isn't it? 2nd winning at 1st. Let's not worry about that. The stats are in our favour. 80% possession, all of the shots, but we're not seeing a highlight, which has me worried. If we're not taking advantage of a good start, then what happens? Fingers crossed, there's some goal action from our front soon. Well, nothing to see yet, but maybe, hang on a minute, we've got a corner with Rodell. It's been all Varberg so far and Nilsson's hit the woodwork. Oh, he's been so good for us since we've come in. But he's hit the woodwork, he's missed out. And I was just questioning whether the visitors, possibly famous last words, are they maybe looking at getting a point here and prioritising other fixtures? I don't know, because they've got the bottom 2 in the last 2 games. So maybe they see a draw here as a good result, which would suit us. We could all just shake hands and take it. Not now though, because we're 1 up and Majid Amiri, the youngster signed in the transfer window on loan, has become a superstar. He's played really well for us at times. Rodell sets it up. He's been just formidable on the right, despite being the second best winger at the club, maybe even third. He's got the job done, and now Amiri with confidence would surge down the left-hand side. Could we double it before the break? Amiri to the byline, crosses in. Everson just doesn't get enough on it. It's out for a throw-in. He glanced the header. It was almost 2, but what a first-half performance. Varbergs have turned up, and as it stands, we will be safe with 2 to spare. Do not get complacent, boys, but so far, you have done a wonderful job. Well, this scoreline has become even more important because Lindom, as we've been given a penalty. Everson's won one. Has he been pushed? I'm not sure. We've got a pen either way. Can we put this away with Rodell? That would surely make us comfortable. It's into the bottom corner. What I was about to say is Lindom are winning at Hasselholm's, which means that that scenario where we would stay up by default anyway is gone as it stands. But what we are doing is completing a job ourselves. We're into the top half. What a day this is turning into. The mere panic from last week has dissipated quickly, and we can now make a couple of subs. I'm not going to go mad. I'm just going to take Everson off for Olsen. 6.3 seems harsh when he nearly scored and he won a penalty. I'm actually just going to take off Homer for Kadajani aside from that. I want to keep it really fresh because the players are doing well, and I don't want to make wholesale changes. One due to fitness and one due to poor performance up front, but the rest of it stays the same as Rodell has a free kick to the back post. Keeper comes, doesn't make it. Would have been fitting if Nilsson had got the third, but he doesn't quite manage it this time. We can look at a few more subs in a minute. I'm going to leave them till right at the very end. Time waste and celebrate survival. 3 added minutes. We're going to take off Rodell for Laukkanen. We are going to bring on Goodlaugson for Amiri. And we are going to bring on Janland for the knackered Parker at right back, who's been magnificent all of this second half of the year. If we do get a club of a similar stature in the future, that Parker at right back is a player I'd like to take with me. But what a performance. What a victory. Varbergs are safe. We have done it in Sweden at last. 3 successes out of 5 now in the Firefighter. We are starting to find our feet. And for the first 2 times in the last 2 weeks, in Slovakia and now here, we've done it with games to spare. No final day drama as we relied on at Lyseng. And that means there's no chance of what happened at Ragsveds because we are safe with Varbergs. What a performance. We're waiting for the confirmations. There it is. We are now 10 points clear of Halmia with just 2 games and 6 points to play for. That is a lovely position. And now, I know it's a very outside chance. Could we maybe catch Hasselholms? Finish above our former side? I don't know. That's probably wishful thinking. But it's job done. Let's get the last 2 games done off camera. And then we'll come back for the job hunt to find out where we're going to be next week. But the big news, the breaking news, is that we are safe with Varbergs. And we have finally succeeded in Sweden. Big news for the day. The Firefighter, well and truly, has liftoff. Well, as it turned out, it was only the threat of relegation keeping us from both the sublime and the ridiculous. But there's a key note here because we've returned after our final 2 games. We're going to resign and look for our new job. I think it's fair to say we've been outshone by another club in our own save here because look at who have finished 11th. Vidin were the side who were bottom of the league when we joined on 4 points. They have made it to 28 and survived outright. Halmia finished bottom, Landvetter went down, Kongahala are in the relegation playoff, and Vidin, picking up 24 points since we joined, have survived. To be fair, we've picked up exactly the same, and are now on 37 and finishing 5th, which I know it's a very tight table, but that's a ridiculous effort. And it was helped by getting 4 points in our last 2 matches. A bonkers game at Vackers, who threw away their chance to win the title. They were 4-1 down, but managed to come back in the second half and get a draw. Either way, though, we gave Everson a chat about his little goal drought. He popped up with a hat-trick. Bolas got one as well. And then the hero from the last game on camera, Majid Amiri, got the winner on the final day of the season against Rapper. And we managed to get the victory there as well. Really good performance, defensively resolute, and thoroughly deserved to survive pretty comfortably in the end. A really good effort. And I know 5th flatters us a little, but we deserve to survive. And after what happened last time we were in Sweden and some of the last minute heartache we've had here before, it feels nice to finally tick it off, do it convincingly in a way no one can question, where we've not relied on other people, and look ahead now to the future. To do that, of course, we've got to resign from our 5th club as we've made it to the end of the season. So let us go and leave Varbergs. We have been nice to them for the future as well. We got Nilsson, the Icelandic centre mid, and a couple of others tied down for another year. But it's time for us to leave. We have completed Club 5 of the Firefighter. It is now 3 successes and 2 failures. And finally, we can turn our back on Sweden, having put things right over there. Let's go and look ahead at the job centre. Is there anything particularly appealing at the minute? Of course, for the summer to summer leagues, it's a little bit early for potential jobs to be coming up. I can see there are a few. There's one in Slovenia, another league we haven't ticked off. Loads in Sweden, but we're not worrying about that now. You can also see one near the bottom in Romania. What level are we going to be at? Because we haven't completed that 2nd coaching badge. But we have got a little bit of stock now, having got that club safe. I know our reputation still won't be up to scratch, although up to 1 star, National B licence being studied for. Maybe this is the start of something big to come. Let's skip ahead, see what jobs pop up. Will it be a first trip to the UK? Or will we get something else across Europe? Or maybe even further afield for the first time? Well, we've only had to wait just over a week to get a job interview offer. And this one, a little closer to home and perhaps a little more difficult. Because this is a job interview offer from South Gower, who are 14th in a JD Cymru South, otherwise known as the Welsh's 2nd tier, the regional division, and they are in 14th place, 3 points off safety and 2 points off the bottom of the league. It is a very tough one, this, because it's a bit of a tough mid-table. You can see the likes of Carmarthen and that in their decent sides. Those that have followed for many a year will know many of these teams from the Bangor City save, but it is a chance to move a little closer to home and try something over a slightly longer period, because generally on this channel, bar that Bangor save, when I've managed in Wales, it's been under Director of Football models rather than where I can take charge of things. They're a semi-pro club. I'm presuming they came up the year before. Looks like it, because they've not been in these leagues since 2017-18. And a key player is a 26-year-old left-back who's rated awfully. Now, the problem that comes with this league is that, yes, you can sign free agents, but there are no transfer windows till the start of January. And they can only sign restricted domestic loans until the end of November. So that's going to make it quite tricky if we can't find players from the top tier to bring in. We'd have to suffer through 2 months with the players that are there. So we're going to attend the interview. We'll see how it goes. If I'm being honest, I'm kind of hoping that 1 or 2 others might pop up in the meantime. Well, after being turned down for a job in Slovenia, despite the fact that we were actually leaked with the role, we didn't get an interview. We've now got 2 more from Wales. Now, it's a bit of an interesting one, this, because the first one is Afan Lido, who are below South Gower in the table there, as you saw. But they're a side that have got a bit of history. They're a bit of a name. They've been in the top tier relatively recently. I would anticipate that on paper they've got a better squad and might be possible to keep them up. Whether or not that's just sort of false, I don't know. They seem to have a lot of youngsters in there. Maybe they've hit financial trouble. I don't know. So we'll go and attend that one as well. And then the other one was a Gresford, who I presume are in the north. Are they in trouble up there? They're in 16th. They're 5 points behind already. So they're in pretty big trouble. They're in dire straits. What sort of players have they got? Younger ones, but they've generally got a bit more of a wage bill. So both worth attending the interviews. And then I guess it's going to be a battle of the Welsh sides to offer us a job by the looks of it. Well, it looks like we've got 2 offers to choose from, because Gresford are requesting backroom staff changes, and they've already won their last game to move within 2 of safety. Whereas in the south, the offer from South Gower is one that is already in writing. They are down to 15th, but 3 points from safety. Afan Lido have not come back to us. What do I do? What do I take on? I genuinely don't know which is the better here. And I'm not sure which is the offer that's going to help us most. Now, my concern with South Gower, they've not got anyone on contracts at the minute, but they've got a wage budget of £1,500 in a week, which means in January, if I can keep them in touching distance, I can have a real go with the squad. Whereas for Gresford, yes, they're a slightly bigger side. Yes, they've been in that second tier for a bit longer, but ultimately, how much of a difference is it going to make? They've been a side that have been battling in the bottom half for ages. South Gower, a side that have come up and are looking to make something happen. The only difference is reputation, regional to local. But South Gower, the media prediction's 7th from pre-season. And even now, it's still up there. I know they can't always be trusted, but there's a suggestion that South Gower might be in the better position of the two here. And as that's the offer that's come in, maybe against my better judgment, fairly early in the season, we're going to go for it. We're going to withdraw our interest from Gresford, and we are going to take the job at South Gower. A 1-year contract on a whopping 350 quid a week. Maybe this club has money. Could it be another coaching badge? Because I'm not sure where they're getting the money to pay that from. And we've got a chance to keep them up. It's still tight. It's still early in the season. Yes, the negative is we have to keep this squad together for 2 months unless we can find domestic loans. But after that, it's a free-for-all, and we've got £1.5 grand a week in wages to spend. So let's go and start the negotiations. Let's try and get ourselves 400 quid a week, get ourselves something out of this. It's also worth noting that our second coaching badge will finish during this stint. So probably by mid-December, we'll probably have priority over our players when it comes to reputation, and they'll be more intent to listen to us, hopefully. We asked for 400, we get 400, and next week, we are going to go manage a club in Wales that, I'll be honest, despite following a bit of Welsh football, I had never heard of until 10 minutes ago. So South Gower will be Club 6 in the Firefighter this time around. And for the first time, we are going to the UK and we are going to Welsh football to see if we can save a newly promoted side who were expected to do better than they currently are. If you did enjoy this one, though, the first time we've seen a double header of games on camera, but a magnificent finish for us at Varbergs, and of course, our first success in Swedish football. And please do put a thumbs up on it. Let me know if you think we should tackle Sweden at a higher level in the future, or should I just cut my losses and accept the one victory we've had there? And how do you think we'll get on in Wales? Thankfully, we're not going to get stuck here. It seems a big contract. There seems to be some promise at the club. I'm just hopeful that we can stay in touch until that transfer window opens. If you want to stay up to date and find out how we get on our new Welsh side, then please do subscribe and turn that notification bell on. We will be back next Sunday at the same time with all of the answers to the questions. Will we be able to succeed? Will the squad be any good? And will we have made a mistake in not waiting for one of the other two? I hope to see you there to find out. In the meantime, though, you can find links to the Twitch channel, the football podcast, and some of our other FM playlists up in the eye above. Thank you very much for watching and joining me for another week of a save I'm very much enjoying. And I'll see you again in a week's time as we return to the UK for the first time in this save. South Gower will be Club 6 in the Firefighter. And I'll see you next Sunday to find out how we get on.